see this virtual background behind me. This is USC and UCLA. A major news story broke this week. Both of these schools are headed to the Big Ten. Now, for those of you that have never listened to me before, I will tell you I am not the biggest fan of college football, really college sports in general. I'm more of a pro guy. I believe that pros do provide the best sports in the world. They have the best athletes, they have the best coaching, they have the best teams. I just think it's a massive upgrade over college sports, especially in football and basketball to me. But this is a major story in college football because we know for years the likes of Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma, right? These have been the main threads of the 4-team college football playoff with Notre Dame and Cincinnati, maybe a Washington sneaking in here or there, maybe Oregon, Florida State here or there once or twice, but it's mostly been, your Bamas, your Clemsons, your Ohio States, and then kind of that fourth team. Obviously, this year without Trevor Lawrence, Clemson took a step back, Georgia took a step in, and obviously this year Cincinnati with their talent had an absolutely amazing regular season that got them into the college football playoff. But for the most part, college football has been dominated by the SEC and the Big Ten. And I think this is where we are heading in college football. I think we are heading to an NFL style format. AFC versus NFC, if you want to coin it that. We're going to have the SEC versus the Big Ten. I think this is really a great thing for college football. I think it makes the games matter more. I am one of those guys that do not believe that the Pac-12, I think that the Pac-12 is soft. I don't think it's really a major conference. I'm scared when guys out of UCLA and USC and Oregon and these kind of small Pac-12 schools go to the NFL. I don't think they're prepared as much as if you were going to Alabama or an LSU or a Georgia or a Florida or an Ohio State or a Wisconsin, or a Michigan. One of these thoroughbred college football schools, even throwing Texas and Oklahoma for that matter, as opposed to UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, Stanford, those types of schools. So I think that this will be a major impact for the college football game. I love it. I think it will make the schedule a lot better. I'm done seeing Ohio State playing cupcakes for the first month of the season, done playing Alabama, Georgia, LSU, all these guys really playing cupcakes the first month of the season, really not getting any competition till late in the season until we find out who are the men and who are the boys per se. I also think it makes college football regional again. I think one of the best parts about the NFL is you have good teams all over the country, right? You got the Packers who are in the middle, in the Midwest. They have no owner. They're in a small town in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Still really good. You got teams like Kansas City, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Chicago, these really good football towns on the East Coast. On the West Coast, you got Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle was really good for a long time. Denver, and then, down south, you got New Orleans, Tennessee, Indianapolis, like everywhere there's a National Football League team. And I think if college football does this, where you have UCLA and USC coming in these other Pac-12 teams, you can basically have the Big Ten going at each other, where Ohio State every year would play the likes of Wisconsin, UCLA, Michigan, USC, Stanford, Purdue, Iowa, these really good competitive matchups instead of Toledo and Bowling Green and Kent State and all of these other schools. And same thing, obviously, for Alabama and those schools down south. I think it would make the competition better. It would certainly make the argument to expand the college football playoff from 4 to 8 teams, because you're going to see more teams. More teams are going to be better. Lincoln Riley going to USC is huge for the sport. They're going to be really, really good college football contenders. I believe in 2 seasons, not so much this year, but I believe the year after, USC will be in the conversation for the college football playoff. And certainly when Texas and Oklahoma move to the SEC, now that Arch Manning is going there, it's going to be absolutely incredible to watch these schools hopefully compete with the big dogs in the SEC and the Big Ten. And if they do that, there's your argument to expand the college football playoff. Doesn't have to be 8. If all these schools are good, they could do 16. You could do 8 SEC teams, 8 Big Ten teams. I've called, when it was the 4 teams, I called for an all SEC and all Big Ten college football playoff. So I'm not a hypocrite on this. I just want to see really good competition. And mostly when you're watching these schools, especially the ones that are in the college football playoff every year, you are watching NFL talent, NFL like games on a Saturday instead of a Sunday. It makes the product better. Ohio State and Michigan was great this year because they were 2 really good teams in a really good physical football game. It's what the sport needs. Alabama and LSU 2 years ago, where they were scoring points left and right, was absolutely incredible back and forth action. It is what the sport needs, and I think we are ending the 2 major super conferences in college football, and I love it, and I hope it expands to other college sports across the nation.